Hello, welcome to Rando Fando Supreme. It's Smokin' here, and today we're gonna go over the new 4.3.4 patch note update. We got some buffs, we got some nerfs, and we got some new dice mechanic changes. So, let's get started. Uh, Before we start though, one cool thing they added on this update is emoticon slots. So if you pay the 500 for the 500 gems for extra emoticons, you can swap them out. So that's a nice feature that they added. Um, the first dice that they changed would be the gear dice. So let's get started with that. They increased the base attack damage from 180 to 200. So they added 20 attack. So it's stronger now. And they decreased the attack speed from 1.2 seconds to 1 second. So it shoots much faster now. The only difference is the attack target has changed. It used to be the frontmost monster, and now it's the strongest monster. So it works exactly like Iron Dice in the sense of attack targeting. I don't know why they made this change, but I assume that it would be beneficial for crew battles, because you want to kill those bosses quickly, and Gear Dice is a very high attack dice. Same with Iron. So having them both attack bosses will get them out of the way pretty quickly. So I think this buff definitely catered to crew battles more than anything else. Um, and you won't be seeing gear dice as common in early level PvP, early class level PvP, uh, in the same way anymore. It'll be different because it's not going to be their main source of damage if its attack target is strongest. Okay, so I don't know. I think it was a good buff to the dice. They just changed its functionality a little bit of what its usefulness is for. So the next dice that they changed is the Landmine Dice, and they changed the attack speed. So it used to be 6 seconds, and now it's 5.5 seconds. So the amount of landmines that gets placed, it gets placed 0.5 seconds faster, which is really good. I think landmine was really good to begin with. Having a buff like that is pretty good. I don't think it needed the buff, but I'll take it. Though they did change one thing. When you would level up the class, it would decrease the attack speed by 0.05 seconds. Now it doesn't do that anymore. When you update the class, it does not change the attack speed. But a flat 0.5 second decrease is much better than a 0.05 second decrease, especially when you need a bunch of them to rank up the class. So I'm happy with the change. I don't think it needed it, but I'll definitely accept it. So another dice that they changed is a dice I don't know, Nuclear. They increased the damage by double from 10% to 20%. And this is based on pip count. So it does 20% damage per pip count. So if you have a high level nuclear, you do 20 times, like if it's a level 5, you do 20% times 5. So yeah, makes sense. So I mean, nuclear dice is pretty good. It's definitely saved me a few times in arena. You're not gonna see this in co-op, PVE. You might see it in PvP, but you know, it's not really a meta deck or a meta dice, so probably not. Did it need the increase? I mean, it was barely used like that. It definitely could have used the increase, but I don't think it's gonna change how people use it. Okay, the last dice that they changed is Holy Sword, and I don't own Holy Sword, but I definitely want to try this out because after all the nerfs to the moon dice, getting to high rounds is really hard, and I think the change to Holy Sword will definitely help people get to higher rounds. So what did they do? The base attack damage went from 40 to 60, so they added 20. Um, the attack damage per level, so when you increase, it went from 20 to now it's 40. So it does a lot more damage. And when you level up the class, right, when you level up the class, it does plus 10 to the damage instead of 5. So they completely buffed up the damage that it does, just normally, right? Now, some other crazy stuff that they changed was boss damage. It now does a shit ton of damage to bosses. It used to do 0.3% damage to bosses, and now it does 2%. That's a huge increase. So I would not be surprised if in PvE, to get high rounds and to cut through bosses, you have holy swords, right? When you level up the class of the holy sword, the boss damage gets increased by 0.5%. Before it wasn't like that. So you're gonna get off crazy damage to bosses if you have high class level holy swords. It also has a new special effect. So you can summon something called the divine sword instead of a holy sword. And so how holy sword worked is it would summon a holy sword and it would do percent damage to the monster, right? Percent health damage to the monster. Well, now there's a 7% chance to spawn a divine sword. Okay? And what a divine sword does is it summons regular swords every 2 seconds, dealing damage to random targets. And the amount of swords that are summoned from a divine sword is equal to the pip count of the dice. So if you have a level 5, or if you have a dot count of 5 on your holy sword, and a divine sword gets summoned, that's 5 holy swords right there, just getting spammed every 2 seconds. So that's pretty good. I mean, I have not used it. I am definitely going to have some of my friends use it, and we're going to see if we can get the high rounds with it, because that's incredible increase with the boss damage. That's going to help you get to higher rounds, definitely having holy swords. Holy swords were pretty good. They were decent. I wouldn't say they were pretty good. They were pretty decent. There were some decks that could utilize holy sword pretty effectively, but there's definitely going to be a lot more experimentation with the holy swords now, because it got attack damage buff, new special effect, crazy bonus damage to bosses. Yeah, like this thing got hell of a buff. So let's see how it works out. I'm excited for this, and I definitely want to see how high I could get in rounds. So that's pretty much it for the patch notes. I think I went over everything. Hope you guys learned something. Hope you guys enjoyed. Peace out.